Hello, and thank you very much for letting me join you today. You asked, how important is it to maintain production? I think continuity is very important for all companies, especially for system-relevant productions, or those that are still in high demand at the moment, and to compensate for failures in other areas if necessary. For us in particular, it's very important. You probably know that vitamins are very important for a healthy immune system. As one of the largest vitamin producers, it is therefore particularly important for DSM to be able to continue to supply vitamins. As part of the food industry, for example, our operations have been identified as essential, and our production sites, which manufacture vitamin C, vitamin A, and other vitamins, are doing everything they can to meet this demand, which is currently almost greater than ever before. DSM, as an internationally active group, naturally learned very early on what exactly is in store for us and what the corona pandemic will mean for us. We have used this time relatively well to prepare ourselves. Very early on, as early as January, we set up a crisis management team here in Switzerland, which looks from day to day and from week to week. What is the situation around us? We have also introduced a traffic light system to define exactly under which circumstances important precautionary measures need to be taken, and to communicate these clearly. We have also reacted. We have switched production to disinfectants, on the one hand, to be able to protect our own employees, but also to support the respective regions in the health system around us. We started early on to identify critical individuals and to consider whether we also have the necessary backup solutions for these positions and people, or whether they are sufficiently technically equipped to be able to start work from their home office if necessary. We have also carried out very precise tracking of which people can currently be on site. We must understand who can be on site due to illness or quarantine situations, and what knowledge may be missing in order to be able to react specifically. And wherever there was a shortage of personnel, we also moved our apprentices into the companies at an early stage in order to get support on site. We have started to change all meetings to remote meetings so that we no longer meet in the same room from different areas. As a result, no one who is sick can distribute their illness back to all areas. An important point was the protection of the shift personnel on site. But at the end of the day, it is the employees who ensure that there is continuity in this environment, that we can continue to produce. DSM had already implemented a number of safety programs before the corona period, which help us, especially in the current situation, to ask the right questions in order to keep our heads in the game, and to keep these safety levels up and running, and not to lose them now. We have also adjusted our shift handover. We had to adjust it in order to shorten the shift handover and create a staggered shift handover so that we don't have too many people in our control rooms at the same time. But this means that the passing on of information in written form becomes even more important. We have been a customer of eschbach for many years, and therefore have necessary experience in the use of electronic shift logs. And that is what we benefit from now. That we have a tool that our operators know how to use, where you can write down all the information during your 8-hour shift, even adding a flag to the particularly important information if necessary. We have also made it so that each workstation is handed over individually, i.e., not that all the information about one person is bundled together and then distributed again, but that each workstation is clearly documented and then handed over at the handover of the shift. To minimize the loss of information between one shift and another, even though we have less time to communicate. To create screenshots so that the necessary information can be viewed quickly. To allow a review of the system so that the operator can quickly have a printout in their hands and see what happened in the last 4 days when they come back to work after 4 days off. All this helps us to make the shift handover as efficient as possible, despite the changed situation. One point that I often hear since I've been in the home office is that since I've been away from the office, everything is much better. No, I'm joking. But I think that overall we are slowly getting used to the situation and the new circumstances. We use the tools we get to hold online meetings more and more effectively. We all come to understand that a camera that's turned on can be worth a lot in the exchange, so that we can still see and hear the words between the lines. We have found that the chat function of the tools we have can be a very efficient way to ask questions without generating a flood of emails. Overall, we can fortunately say that our performance has not suffered from the current situation, that we have been able to come to terms with it, and that process optimization is still possible, even if it requires very good documentation. We use Shiftconnector for this. Of course, we also use Excel files that we have stored online. But our single point of truth is Shiftconnector, which then links and provides information to the other tools we have on the outside to keep communication alive. And my feedback is that the people on site see and feel that way too.